Sally, thank you for talking to me.
It's my pleasure.
Can you explain a bit about what GetUp is?
So GetUp is a movement of over 700,000 Australians who take action on different progressive issues. So that looks like signing petitions or getting in touch with decision makers or chipping in to run a really effective advertising campaign to influence an MP or that sort of thing. So we campaign on the 4 pillars of like climate and environment, human rights, democracy and economic fairness.
When did marriage equality become an issue for GetUp?
I think our members really started sort of like passionately mobilising in 2011. In 2011, the objective of the campaign still very much sat with shifting hearts and minds. We're not shifting hearts and minds anymore, like the majority of Australians support marriage equality. But back in 2011, the objective was about, making the issue something that masses of people could identify with and could really be moved by. And so we made the It's Time video, which is the story of this young man in love, and then at the end you realise, after you've kind of fallen in love with this dude, that he's in a gay relationship, and it's just the same as any other relationship.
And that went viral, didn't it?
Yeah, so it's been seen like over 15 million times now, which is bananas.
And there was also a dinner with Julia Gillard. I think that was the result of an auction.
Yeah, so in 2012, the opportunity came up at the annual winter charity ball for an auction to win a dinner with the Prime Minister. And so GetUp members chipped in and won the dinner, and we chose to send Sandy and Lou, their two sons, to go and meet with the Prime Minister and explain to her, Julia Gillard, why marriage equality was so important to their family.
And how did that dinner go?
Yeah, really well. Julia Gillard doesn't support marriage equality. Well, I think she just doesn't support marriage. But the dinner was fantastic. It was a really fun thing for our members to get involved in, and I know that Sandy and Lou had the best time.
Why do you think, speaking of Julia Gillard, Australian politicians in the main have been so slow to come on board?
I think, so I mentioned before, back in 2011, we're all about, changing the narrative, shifting hearts and minds, that sort of thing. I think in 2015, our challenge is that our politicians know that the majority of Australians want marriage equality, but they don't think that we care, and they don't think that it's an issue that people are going to, they don't see it as a vote-changing issue, or they don't see it as a priority. So, the focus of the campaign this year has been showing our MPs that this is a priority and Australians do care, and we're fighting for it.
And is that why it's become such an important issue for GetUp?
I think it's always been an important issue for GetUp, but I think particularly in light of the victory in Ireland, where marriage equality was legalised by popular vote, amazing, and then the Supreme Court ruling in the US, I think both those international moments from, our kind of peers or like older siblings of the world, if you know what I mean.
Obviously what's happened in Ireland and the US has provided some momentum for the campaign. Now Ireland had a referendum. Here there's been a few calls for plebiscites or referendums. Where does GetUp stand on that?
Like me personally, I think we don't need a plebiscite. We already know that 72% of Australians support marriage equality. I think it would be a waste of time and money, and I think the gap is making our MPs feel the heat and feel the pressure, and making them understand that we want marriage equality in 2015. We have a pathway to winning this, and it sits in our federal parliament, so that's what we're mobilising around.
So is that GetUp's point of view too, not just your personal view?
That's how I've built the strategy here, yeah.
So what's been your own involvement in the campaign?
I run the marriage equality campaign at GetUp. And this is, do you mean like writing strategy, or how do you mean?
Everything from running the campaign to writing strategy. I mean, how much are you involved?
Pretty involved, yeah. So I go from everything from writing the GetUp strategy and consulting with our partners in the space, like Australian Marriage Equality and other legends around the place, right the way through to, being up on stage at a rally telling people why I support marriage equality, or, getting on Photoshop really late at night and making a Facebook image, so yeah, very involved.
How do you reassure people who perhaps are concerned about marriage equality for religious, cultural or traditional reasons?
I think marriage in Australia it's a civil institution. Like, we're talking about the civil right of marriage from our secular government. So, if religious people don't believe in marriage because of their religion, like, that's, religious people don't believe in a lot of things because of their religion. So I think it's not an issue of religion or faith or anything like that. I think this is a civil rights issue. So.
Occasionally I'll meet people, particularly those who identify as LGBTQI, who will say that to them marriage is a patriarchal institution, or it's old-fashioned, or we're aping heterosexuals, it's heteronormative, or it even entrenches the divide between married and unmarried couples. Do you have a response for that?
So I am one of those LGBT people who believes that. Like, you couldn't pay me to get married. I'm not interested in it. I think it's like the institution does not interest me for a wide variety of reasons. But for me, marriage equality isn't actually about marriage at all. To me, it's about two things really. It's about equality, and it's about the fact that a civil institution should be afforded to everyone, regardless of anything that might make them different. But more importantly, I think it's about prejudice. And I think when you scrape down beneath everything, what the people who stand in the way of marriage equality, it comes down to homophobia. Mm-hmm. And it's the same homophobia that sees young transgender kids beaten up, or sees our suicide rates in our community soar because we can't imagine a world where we would be accepted for who we are. So I think when the next generation of Australians grow up in a world where there's no difference between gay couples and straight couples for this really overarching civil institution that a lot of people aspire to, and when there's no difference for different types of couples, I think that's sort of like chipping away at this underlying homophobia and this underlying sense that people from the LGBTQIA community are different or lesser. So that's why it's important to me.
Do you think marriage equality in Australia is inevitable?
No. And I think it would be really dangerous to think that. I think we're getting really close, and I think the momentum is exciting, and I'm really, really hopeful that it'll happen in this next spring sitting season, but it's far from inevitable. We're in a country with probably the most conservative Prime Minister we've ever seen, and we've got conservative folk with loud voices rallying against us. We've got organisations who are organising against us. I don't think it's inevitable at all.
But if we get it, which hopefully we will,
yeah.
Does the fight for LGBTQIA rights end with marriage equality?
Absolutely not. I think, marriage equality is, when you strip it back, it's a symbol of removing prejudice and allowing equality. So there's so much more to do than just that symbol. And what I hope is that this fever pitch of Australians who are so passionate about LGBTQI rights at the moment can then sort of snowball into a movement that is passionate about other issues facing our community, and particularly linking that all back to homophobia and what homophobia in our community means.
How can people get involved in the campaign?
At the moment, the best thing to do is to get in touch with your MP. In the last few months, we've seen MP after MP switch their vote and come out in support of marriage equality. And every single time it's because people in their communities have asked them to. It's all about just community support. So the way people can get involved in the campaign, if you want to do it through the GetUp website, you can visit www.getup.org/itstime. and it'll tell you who your MP is, where they stand, and you can get in touch with them there. Or if you'd rather not do it through GetUp, you can just get on the Australian Parliament House website, fiddle around, get their email addresses there.
Sally, thank you very much.
My pleasure.